Hello there, Libra. How are you? It is so good to see you. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So today we're doing your end of June reading. This is good for now until about mid-July, and it does include that very important summer solstice and the full moon in Capricorn, both happening this week. So big doors opening, and in some ways, difficult times are behind us. So let's see what is on the horizon for you. Yes, we have protected by angels. You are cherished by the angels. Okay, this card always comes out when things are changing in your life, right? So Libra, I feel like with this summer solstice and especially the full moon in Capricorn, things are changing in your life, okay? That means that something might be coming to an end while something else is beginning, but sometimes those endings, and I got that message before when I was meditating before I started your reading, that you have something coming to an end, but it's a good ending, okay? It's something that you know has needed to kind of like finish out, okay, whatever that is. And it's allowing yourself, your angels, your spirit guides and allies are coming in to help you to move on from something. I feel like the ending has already occurred, but it's kind of like allowing yourself to move on into a new chapter because you have eagle spirit. Spirit has your back. See? The angels, the divine, are really and truly on you with you at this time, right? They're in your court. They're cheering for you. They're saying, Libra, it's okay. You can allow something that has ended in the past. You can allow it to stay in the past. It's time to take flight. It's time to allow a new chapter to open for you because you have harmony, perfect balance, right? It's moving away from turbulent times into more calm times, peaceful times, times of harmony, times where your relationships are in better balance, where you feel like what you're giving in your career or work sector, right, is being either recognized, acknowledged, or you're being compensated, right, for the work that you're putting into something. Yeah, because look at what you have popping out, right? The first few cards here. You have breathe and you have peace. It's kind of like you can take a deep breath. It's kind of like a sigh of relief is coming in here because you know that the difficult times are behind you. You are clearly stepping into something that is much more harmonious, much more, look at, you have blossoming abundance, right? Something that's more abundant. And keep in mind that abundance is not just financially. It can and does usually include financially, right? But abundance includes joy, happiness, love, a sense of peace and harmony in your life, right? Abundance is everything that you are wanting, that you are desiring. And look at what you have here. You have two aces. So this is a fresh start for you. You have the Ace of Swords, stepping into your truth, right? Speaking your truth, a sense of victory. The Ace of Swords is always like holding up that sword and saying, yes, I got through that difficult period in my life. And now with the Ace of Wands, it's kind of like this energy of a fresh start in your life. It's very much the Phoenix rising type of energy, and you even have the Empress, you have the Page of Cups. After a long time of feeling like you don't have enough or you're not acquiring what it is that you want, perhaps feeling in your relationships or in your work and your career that you don't have what it takes to get what it is that you truly deserve. It's all of a sudden feeling like there's these pages, these cups of love heading your way. It's such a turn of events for you that I feel like, look, you have the sun, the woman holding a coin, and then you also have the goddess of the moon. Full moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is about recognizing the hard work that you put into things and finding that balance, right? Understanding that maybe you've had to allow some relationships to go or making some difficult choices in your career sector, right? About not giving too much in your career sector. That Capricorn energy is kind of that energy of if I follow the rules, then everything will work out in my favor. But I feel like part of it is that You also maybe have overgiven, thinking that the more you give to a relationship, a career, a situation in your life, the more you give, the more you'll get out of it. But what you're recognizing is that that's not necessarily true, right? Sometimes we can't control what the other person or the situation is willing to give us. And sometimes we can fall into that pattern of thinking, well, if I just gave a little bit more. And you are the peacemaker, Libra. You like to have peace and harmony in all of your situations, your relationships in your life. You like that sense of balance. But for a very long time, you have probably felt like things are not in balance for you. Here, the divine is coming in. They're helping you to understand that perhaps some of the situations in your life or the relationships that were out of balance, that they were kind of like lessons on your path in order to help you to recognize how much you have to allow yourself to love yourself. The Empress energy is very much your energy. That sense of, I love myself enough to not allow myself to overgive in certain relationships or situations, allowing yourself to either walk away or to try to figure out how to balance out the energy in those situations, because this is what you're looking for. You're looking for this sense of peace and harmony, this sense of being able to enjoy life. There's a sense where I feel like you have been working so hard, that Capricorn energy, right? Working so hard at a lot of different things in your life, perhaps your relationships, your career, your health. It's just kind of like you've been putting a lot out and not feeling like you're getting back exactly what it is that you want out of those. And now you're understanding, wait a minute, I don't want to work so hard. I'm not here to be a doer. I'm here to be a human being, not a human doer. Stepping into this energy of, I want to be able to take this time to just kind of like enjoy life. And what you have been doing for some time perhaps hasn't been bringing you that sense of joy, of happiness, of peace, of being able to just like sit and be content with your life, right? And part of the thing is that you've had to clean up. See, this is your obstacle. Your obstacle is being anxious about those things that you've had to clean up. And I feel like you've done a lot of that work. Cleaning up means allowing yourself to have difficult conversations with people in your life where the boundaries are not maybe quite as healthy as you'd like for them to be. Maybe having a discussion with your employer about how you're overworking and not feeling compensated or acknowledged for the work that you're doing. Understanding that some of those conversations are difficult for you, Libra, because you liked for everybody to be happy in a situation. You want everything to be a win-win. But sometimes your idea of a win-win means that you give more to keep the peace in a situation. And I feel like this has been a difficult kind of period in your life, but you're coming out of it. You've had to have those difficult conversations. You've had to either clean up certain situations or relationships in your life by having those conversations, or maybe perhaps stepping into your own, speaking your truth, setting healthier boundaries, right? And allowing yourself to stay very committed to what it is that you want for yourself. That can be very difficult when you're a person that wants to have harmony and peace, doesn't want to have to confront anybody with any kind of conversations that bring up situations that you don't really want to speak about, right? And this is your Ace of Wands. This is understanding, okay, my healthy boundaries help me to have better communication in my relationships. My healthy boundaries help me to have this sense of not just focusing on what am I getting out of perhaps my career money-wise, but also how am I feeling about the work that I'm doing? Do I feel like it's a way for me to use my gifts, my talents, my creative abilities? Or am I being shortchanged in the sense of finding purpose in the work that I do? I feel like this is an energy where you're truly allowing yourself to have a fresh start with the way that you communicate to other people, because you realize that holding back your communication, not being completely truthful with the people that you're dealing with, right, has got you into situations where you were overgiving. It's also, I'm getting the sense here too, a little bit of the message that your expectations, you may in your head be thinking, well, they have to recognize that I'm overgiving in this situation, or that I'm really trying in this situation. But what you're understanding is that that's an expectation. If I put this much into it, they're going to have to be able to recognize that and acknowledge it in some way. And what you're understanding is it needs perhaps one of the things that you've been working on is finding ways to really have those conversations. Instead of having it up in your head, they must be able to see how hard I'm working. It's kind of like having those conversations with your employer about the amount of work you are putting into your career, or what you're really putting into a relationship, and perhaps wanting back out of a relationship. There is something, I had this principal once, and she said to me that, and I was a true worker bee, let's put it that way, when I was a teacher. And she said to me that I needed to toot my own horn a little bit more. Because she said, you do so much, but you never kind of like, and it's not like you have to stand up and announce to the world how much work you're doing, right? But she said, one of the things is that you just do it, and you don't share with other people all of the work or the creative lessons that you're creating or anything. Nobody knows about it, and yet you're putting a lot of time and energy into it. And I do think, I'm kind of more of a humble person, I guess, but there is something to that of, if we want recognition from other people about the hard work that we're doing, we have to first recognize the work that we're doing and allow ourselves to communicate how hard we're working at something. Yeah, this is really beautiful about understanding there's two parts of it, right? Making sure that your expectations in your career or your situations, your relationships, that your expectations are you're putting out your expectations, you're communicating those. You're not just like hoping that they telepathically get the message, right? And then the other thing is about allowing yourself to walk away or have those difficult conversations with people when things are not in balance. Because your advice here is, you have the patience, you have the 7 of Cups. It's about choosing, right? Making some of those difficult decisions about what is really important in your life, but having patience, right? Not being, choosing out of emotional angst about a certain situation. Okay, so for instance, the 7 of Cups, see all the stars in the sky, right? If you're upset with your boss because your boss is not recognizing the hard work that you're putting in, or you're not getting a raise, or you're not being promoted, or whatever it is, right? It's like you could be looking at other options. But one of the things that you're being asked to really take a look at is to take a little bit of a break to reflect and ask yourself, have I had that conversation with my employer? Have I told them how I feel? Or am I just rushing out trying to find a different job, right? It is a little bit about learning how to work with what situation you're in. And it doesn't mean if it's toxic or something like that, or, abusive, definitely you need to go in a different direction. But I think that there's something here about learning how to make some of your relationships or situations in your life work, instead of just looking for a way to overgive to the situation so that somebody will come around and see what you're putting into it, or just running off and moving on to the next. It's learning how to communicate. And I think that the period that you've been in right? You have learned that, or you're learning that this is important, right? You're having that epiphany. Instead of just switching gears and going to the next thing, I'm actually going to try to make this situation, this relationship work. This is a powerful lesson, and I can say that from my own life. I can recognize, or it is kind of interesting, I can recognize that a lot of times in my life, when I got frustrated with people or situations, I would just move on to the next, right? Because it was easier than having that conversation. I don't like to have those difficult conversations myself, right? But when we do that, we're not necessarily healing the situation, right? This is a sense of healing. It's a sense of, I'm going to sit down and at least have a conversation with this person, see where this can go before I allow myself to just cut and run. Yeah, really powerful. And you know, Libra, this is a new chapter for you. I want to stress that. Okay, this is a new chapter for you of where you are understanding that how important healthy boundaries are in every situation in your life, right? Including your relationship with yourself, having those healthy boundaries, but then also being able to speak your truth, to not feel like people ought to be able to read your mind. I am so much into that, thinking, oh, people should be able to read my mind, right? So, okay, so let's pull a card of advice here for you. And Libra, I do personal readings. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. Ah, look, you have guidance. Yes, when you make divine intelligence your foundation, you finally have a fixed star to follow. And that is so interesting because, see, you have all these stars in the Seven of Cups. And it's kind of like just constantly looking for other options. Is the grass greener on the other side, right? There's got to be something better out there. This is understanding, no, you're choosing a star, but you're choosing that star based on what it is that you truly want for yourself. And then you're allowing yourself to try to make that path work for you. So if you're starting a new relationship, and with two aces here, there's this new relationships, perhaps new career options, whatever it is, a new path is opening up for you, but it's allowing yourself to say, okay, I'm going to try to make this work, right? I'm going to take this. I'm going to allow myself to not just cut and run or to think things are green or on the other side of the fence. I'm going to try to make this work by using good communication skills and allowing myself to communicate my expectations and to communicate when I feel like there isn't harmony and balance in my situation. This is just beautiful, Libra. This is really, I mean, your readings for the last 2 or 3 months have been very spiritually awakening. I think you're understanding that this has been an important lesson. It's kind of like you've learned that lesson and now you're applying it in a new situation in your life. All right, Libra, I am going to leave it there. I wish you so much love and light. I really appreciate all your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.